And welcome to Nancy's Neighborhood, folks. And I think since the last time I saw you, we've had snow and we've had a little bit of cold weather. But the snow was beautiful, but it kind of caught us all by surprise because it was supposed to go a little bit further south of us. Definitely caught Atlanta, Birmingham, and I have a friend who just graduated from college in Mississippi in the snow, and also got some places in Texas in the snow. It was beautiful snow, and I'm glad we had it, and I'm glad it's over. So, but we have the sun shining in on Nancy's Neighborhood today, so it's still chilly out there, folks, but it's good to be in Nancy's Neighborhood today. And I have two people who have graciously said they would be on the show today to talk to us about an organization in Bradley County that there is a huge need for, and I just hate to say there's a huge need for it, but there is, and it's called CASA. And we have Chris, and I told Chris he's going to have to say his last name. Say your last name, Chris.
Christopher Janetsko.
Yeah. Janetsko. That is not how it looks when it's spelled, but that's okay. That's okay. And Jenna Curtis. And I wanted them to come on today and talk to us about CASA and tell us what CASA is, what CASA does, how it works in Bradley County, and how you possibly could help them to work in Bradley County. So let's kick it off. Chris, I guess I'll go to you and say, what is CASA?
Yeah, so CASA stands for Court-Appointed Special Advocates. What we do is we work with community volunteers. We train those volunteers. Once they complete a 30-hour training process, they're sworn in by a judge. And at that point, they're able to advocate for a child, generally in an abuse and neglect situation, make sure that child has the proper basic necessities taken care of, and really get to know that child on a personal level so that child knows that there's someone that actually cares about their best interest. Once the advocate feels like they have a good understanding of the child's best interest, they make a recommendation back to the judge. And a really cool thing is that locally and nationally, the judge will implement the advocate's recommendations about 90% of the time. So we're really our trusted source to the judges.
And that's awesome. And before the show started, I was talking to them about the fact that even having taught school 18 years, I didn't realize that a lot of times the children that you're working with, the people that would be responsible for getting them to court are the people who are abusing them or neglecting them. And so what do? I mean, you know, you can't get the abuser to drive you to the courthouse. That's not going to happen. So this is what CASA does. They take up for the child, and I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, a judge is not able to go and visit with every child and stuff like that. And the CASA started because a judge in Seattle was feeling uncomfortable about the decisions he was making because he wasn't able to spend the time with the children. And he's making significant recommendations or decisions for children's lives that will affect them.
Life-changing decisions,
And so he started working with community volunteers, and it spread to a national cause. And so we really are just encouraging our advocates to really just to dive in and to learn the needs of the child, to be unbiased and just make recommendations to the judge. The judge still makes the decision. We just make recommendations. We tell him the facts, and then we're kind of his eyes and ears.
And my question to you is then how, yes, let's be sure we say, or hers, let's be sure that we let the people know how you find these children that you're going to advocate for.
Yeah, so we never get involved from recommendations or anything like that. It's the judge assigns us to the case. So if he or she ever feels like they need to know more, then we're appointed to the case.
Okay, so does the Department of Human Services get involved also? Are they there from the start? Or who says to the judge, here's a child that needs help?
Yeah, I mean, some of them will be, the Department of Human Services will also be involved with, but it's really the judge. Any case that goes to the court that's involved with abuse or neglect.
Okay, all right, so that's good. And Jenna's here because she's a volunteer.
Right.
And that means you do what?
Okay, so I'm an advocate for a child. Basically, we interview the parents or both people who are involved. Sometimes it's grandparents, sometimes it's step-parents. And then we interview the child. Something I've noticed, and you were kind of talking about it earlier, is how children need advocates. Usually the first time you talk to a child, they're not even going to be honest with you, even if you know they're being hurt or abused or anything like that. It takes a little while to get to know the child. The children that I have talked to don't want to offend or hurt their parents, and I think that's always the case. They don't want to hurt either one of their parents. So it's my job to try to figure out a compromise that is best for the child, exactly what the child wants and what the child needs.
And why did you volunteer? Why were you trained to do this?
I've always had a heart for children, especially orphans and foster children, people who have no one to speak for them. I actually learned about CASA years ago when I was a kid. I saw something on Dr. Phil about CASA.
How neat.
Yeah, and then I guess Chris had posted something on Facebook. Maybe it was sponsored. Somehow I stumbled upon it, and I emailed him, and he immediately emailed me back, and I went to the next training class.
Okay, so I think, Chris, you said there's training class coming up in January.
January 26th starts a 6-week training process, but it's only on Friday mornings from 8:30 to 12:30. It's 30 hours in total, and once they complete that, they're sworn in by a judge, and then they're able to act in that role as the advocates. In the trainings, they learn all the tools they're going to need to be an advocate, child welfare best practices, how to write a court report, which is actually really simple, though it might sound intimidating.
It already did. It sounds intimidating.
There's a template.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yes,
Okay.
it's not too hard. And then just how to go into a child's home and to identify the needs of the child.
And to me, that's something that might be a little heart-wrenching.
Right.
And so I think, I don't want to say you have to be a strong person to do this, but I think you need to be very open and very aware of all kinds of situations that could be happening in the family situation. And what you said totally rings with me, because the children don't want to blame a family member because they're going to have to possibly go back home with that family member. And that makes it even harder.
And they have a bond with them. These are people that have raised them. They've been with them their whole lives. So they want to be loyal to their family, whether they abuse them or not.
And to me, that's heart-wrenching, because if you're being abused, but you still love the parent, and you want to go back home with that parent, even though you may be abused some more.
Right.
I just think that's tragic.
That's
Absolutely tragic. So we talked about it's not called a volunteer anymore, it's called an advocate.
Right.
You're an advocate. So what kind of guidelines, if anybody out there is interested, what kind of guidelines are we looking at for being an advocate?
So you can't have a criminal record.
Okay. Pretty much took care of some of y'all out there, I think. Maybe not me. Close, but no. Okay.
We ask that they also be 21. But yeah, there's an application process. We do a background check. We want upstanding individuals. They sign a confidentiality policy. Our advocates are not sharing any information with anybody that is not sworn in by a judge or part of our staff.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yes, we're respecting people's privacy. Then they do an application and then an interview process with a CASA staff member. After that point, we're able to select the best of the best, and then they go into the training process.
Okay, so they have to be 21 or older, but then is there a top-out age, like you would say we would rather you didn't after a certain age, or do you think grandmother-type people would be as good at this as...
Oh, we have lots of grandparents.
Okay, good.
Grandparents are awesome.
Good.
But there really is no specific background that people have, but we have retired individuals, veterans, teachers, and then just local business professionals, and then some that are just stay-at-home mothers. It can really be anybody. You just really have to have a true passion for children.
And I would say it's tough to not get emotionally involved.
Yeah, there's no way.
Okay, so if you have somebody like me who cries at Lassie's theme song, I probably should not volunteer.
No, I cry. I hide it, yeah.
Okay.
And I make faces in court sometimes that I try.
A lot of times nonverbal communication is the best, and some
Or the
people,
worst.
or the worst. That is true. And some people, I'm one. They just don't look at me while you're doing something, because I'm probably going to nonverbally communicate to you my feeling. And I know that's sometimes good, sometimes bad, because some people don't read the nonverbal communication the way you meant for it to be. But now, Chris, this is a nonprofit organization.
That's right.
So, I mean, your advocates are volunteers, so they're not paid, but still, you all have to have some kind of an income, a financial statement that you have to do something about. So,
That's correct.
tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we're funded by grants, a couple events that we do. We just did our 5K which was a huge success.
Good.
And then obviously private donations help us too. So if anybody's ever interested in giving, they can go to www.casabp for Bradley and Polk.org. So that's casabp.org, and they can select the Give tab, and there's information about how the money will be used. And I think it's important to note that none of the donations go to any of our staff's salaries. It goes to directly affecting the child's life and serving them.
That's good to know.
Our staff salaries are currently paid through grants.
And that's great to know. So you do have a grant writer that takes care of that for you. And you know, people say, I just can't write a grant. It's tough. And it is tough. But I mean, it's money that the people that are going to give you want to know how you're spending it. And then, you know, there's a couple other things I want to know. That once this grant quits, are you sustainable? And then you have to prove to them how you use this money. So I think it's great that you all write these grants. But this is a wonderful opportunity. We're getting close to the end of the year. And some people see their checkbooks and they say, whoa, I've got a little bit of extra money. So what do I need to do with it? So CASA would be a great opportunity. www.casabp, that's for Bradley and Polk, .org.
Yes.
Okay, so it is a .org, 501c3, and we need to remember that. We have a little lesson on that occasionally on the TV show. It's .org and .com, so y'all are a .org.
Yes.
Now, how many cases have you advocated for?
I am in my 4th case.
Okay. How long did it take you to get a comfort zone the first time you walked into court and were advocating?
The first time I walked into court, it was a little intimidating. It was crowded, and there was a lot of stuff going on. But I think the more you get to know the child you're advocating for, the more at peace you are with your decision because you know you're making the right choice. So I think you go in pretty confident, and you don't usually have, it's not really intense. You don't have lawyers arguing with you. Not yet. I mean, I haven't had that. But, you know, you imagine court like.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. People jumping up and saying objection and all of that kind of stuff.
No, you do have a lot of crying because it does involve parents who, they're both fighting for their kids. So there's a lot of crying and stuff, but it's not as intimidating as.
I think they can take a lot of comfort in the fact that they're only saying what they observed, and they're not necessarily making the decision. The judge is making that decision. So you're just as I said earlier, the eyes and the ears of the judge. You're just sharing some facts that you observed the child's life, and you're letting that child know that their voice is being spoken up for. I know the first case I took, I walked into the home, and the girl expressed, she's like, when is somebody going to listen to what I want said?
Oh my
and that was an awesome opportunity for me because I was able to tell her, that's why I'm here today.
Right.
I'm here to talk to you and understand what your desires are. So, yeah.
And that's, you know, usually when you go into court, like how long are you there?
It depends. Usually it goes by pretty quickly. I would say a couple hours because they'll call different dockets. Sometimes you have to wait and listen to cases ahead of you.
So you're in this isn't like a private courtroom situation.
Well, because it's juvenile, it is private, but
Okay.
the attorneys and the advocates sit in there and wait for their cases to be called.
I got you, okay.
And she's talking about, you know, it could be intimidating in the first case. Something we're trying to do in 2018 is have our more experience. I mean, we've been growing like crazy in the past about year and a half, and we have 37 advocates that, you know, are well established. So we're going to use those 37 advocates to start mentoring the new ones that we have coming on in 2018. So I hope that nervousness that some of them might have in their first case will start going away because there's going to be a lot more support, I think, through our mentorship of the established advocates.
And you know, that's astounding. You have 37 advocates. Do we need that many advocates in Bradley and Polk
We
County?
need so many more.
We don't have enough.
Yeah.
really.
The judges are trying to give us more cases, and we can only, you know, handle a certain capacity. So the more advocates we have, especially because we're trying to make a stronger presence in Polk County. The more advocates that are passionate about Polk County area too, the more children we can serve there. And I mean, Polk County does not have enough resources out there serving that community, I don't think.
See, that's astounding to me that we have 37 and we need more.
Yeah.
That's just, that's mind-blowing because you think each one of those 37 has a child that has been somehow or another mistreated, abused, or some kind of situation. And you know, we live in Cleveland, Bradley County, and we just don't want to think that happens here. Because
This is a great
it's a sweet little
town.
town,
Yeah.
you know? And we just don't want to think that. So any of you all that are listening today, you need, if you've got time and you're a strong-willed person, I think that's probably one of the things you need to be, and compassionate. You need to call CASA and say, I'm interested. Just because they call doesn't mean you're going to sign them up immediately.
That's right.
Right.
They just need to tell you they're interested.
Yeah, and I do want to point out that our current training is during the day, but as we've just talked, we're going to try to incorporate some evening trainings for people that might not be able to make day trainings. So please still call us and have that conversation. Our number is 423-472-5800. And then
472-5800.
correct,
Okay.
or you can go to our website, and there's also a tab for becoming an advocate or volunteering. So just look for that tab, and there's information about how you can start the application process, or even just start a conversation with us.
And see, that's what I think I would have to do. I'd just have to start a conversation.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say, don't write advocate down by my name yet, but let's have a conversation. You tell me what this is going to involve, how much time it's going to involve, what if there are any dangers or anything like that, because people will want to know that.
Yes.
And now, are there other volunteer jobs that CASA could use people for? I mean, like filing, paperwork, anything like that. If someone doesn't feel strong enough to be an advocate, is there anything else they could do?
Occasionally, we do find the benefit of having office volunteers, but especially interns. Interns we found to be really effective in helping us. So we use a lot of social work interns, and then those that are interested in public relations or outreach and helping us plan our events.
And that's good to know. So folks, interns are utilized there. So any of you all that are thinking about what can I do because I need an internship, call.
Yep.
And 472-5580? No.
I think that's correct.
Okay.
You confused me now.
I'm
but,
so sorry.
472-5800. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
472-5800. I had too many fives in there. But because this is something that some of you people are sitting home right now, and I know several retired people who are sitting at home right now thinking, I need something to do. I've worked the crossword. I've read this book. I've worked this jigsaw puzzle. I need something to do. So,
Right.
you know, they could call you all, and to me, that would be so fulfilling
Yeah.
to do this.
It's a great purpose.
That's what I think, because these children are basically helpless, and you don't want them to feel hopeless, just like the little girl the first time you went into her house.
Yep.
Because she thought she was helpless and she thought she was in a hopeless situation. And that's not what you want to do. So how much could you share today, just one little situation of somebody? Can you share anything? And if you can't, that's all right.
About sharing.
That's all right.
I'm super nervous about sharing. But
Okay, well, that's fine, because I know there's several laws and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's fine. I didn't know whether there was anything you.
I'm just a talker, and I'm afraid I'm going to
Okay,
slip.
well, hello. I'm right there with you. So if you
Do you
slip,
find it worthwhile? Has it been like?
No, it is very
How's it
fulfilling.
affected you?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, the first time I did it, I was heartbroken. And if you're compassionate about kids, you're gonna be a little heartbroken. But like I said, once you get to know the child, once the child opens up and they trust you, they know you want what's best for them, you become sure of yourself and, sure of your decision. You know that that's the decision that's the best.
Now, once you're working with this child, do they go back to the home that they?
Yeah, a lot of times they are living in the home. Not very many of the circumstances that we deal with are extreme abuse. A lot of the situations that I've dealt with, sometimes the kid is the one who has bad behavior. So,
Okay.
there's several different situations that you can be in. It's all different. Usually it's not, we don't handle the major abuse. Usually DCS handles.
Okay, so you're not sending the child back into a harmful situation.
Right. A lot of times it's parents fighting over a child, and there's many times drugs are involved, or speculation of abuse, or neglect.
So it's not like the child's going back into a hostile environment, and that's good.
That
to know.
we know of.
Right. And once you get to know that child, then you would know that there was something going
Right.
on. So it's been great having you all on. You know, here's the Christmas season, and we're talking about children that need our help. And so you think, no, they need to be sitting at home waiting on Santa Claus to come down that chimney and leave them something under the tree. But this is the real world.
Right.
Yep.
And that's what's so amazing to me. I mean, honestly, you blew me away with 37 advocates, and you need more. So,
Yeah.
so folks, they do need more, and the training starts January the
26.
26th.
So they make it their New Year's resolution to, help out us and become a volunteer advocate with us. That'd be awesome.
And you can call or you can go online to www.CASABPBradleyPolk.org. And also you can go on there to make contributions, because
Correct.
you do need funding for the program that you all do, and it is a wonderful program.
Thank you.
And like I said, I was blown away the first time I heard about it, because I guess it didn't dawn on me. And I taught school for 18 years, so it should have dawned on me, but it didn't. And so I'm so glad to have you all on with me today.
Thank you.
Anything else you need to share?
No, I mean, just I think there's a need in our community, and I think this is an easy way for people that are frustrated with the stories they might hear in the news to take action. You really have no excuse at this point. I feel like this is something you can actually do to change your community.
That's very true, Chris, and I'm not signing up today, but I just think I'm too soft-hearted to do this. I really, really do.
I think emotions are important, though.
Yes.
You have to care, and that's why people get involved. You just can't let those emotions affect your recommendation.
You can't yell at the judge.
Can you not? Oh, God. Then I know I don't need to volunteer, okay? Because I'm very vocal, as y'all have
Oh,
seen,
yes.
and so that probably would not work. But thank you all so much for
Thank
being on
you.
today, and I hope you all have a Merry Christmas. And I really do hope that those of you listening out there who've looked at your checkbook and you said, whoa, it's the end of the year, my accountant says I need to do something, make a few more donations. CASA is a great place to make those donations. Thank you all so much, and I hope
Thank
y'all have a
you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And folks, don't go away. We're going to be right back. And here's my normal little spiel to you. Watch our commercials and support our sponsors, because they pay our bills. And I'll be right back with some events that are coming up. And, it's getting close to Christmas and things are getting crazy, although last 2 weekends have been pretty crazy. So I'll be right back.